All right. All right, guys, we're back. Another Zoom call here. And tonight we have a very special guest. I'll let her introduce herself and we'll go from there. Take it away.
Hello, my name is Mary Pat Mombourquette, and I'm the Executive Director of Cape Breton Miners Museum.
Excellent. Awesome.
Cool.
And we've had some... Go ahead, Doug.
Our favorite spot to do some
it's
ghost hunting.
And one of our favorite things to do at the museum. People keep coming up and ask me when that's going to start again. They're really missing it.
Yeah.
Even the guides.
Really?
Oh yeah, Eric wants to go. He's missing
Oh,
it.
awesome. Yeah. We have such a good time on those public investigations.
Yeah.
Always meet people and awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to tell you that we do one tomorrow, but you know.
Yeah.
I'm going to apologize right now because I have 4 dogs and they just, it's really hard to keep them quiet. So I'm usually on mute, but that'll be hard to do tonight.
I have one in the room with me too, and he's already crying at the door. So.
All right. So I guess we'll start with you, Mary Pat, and we'll talk about some of the experiences you've had. I guess you haven't. When's the last time you were at the office? Or when
Well, I go back and forth because nobody's there at the museum but me. So I do go over there quite frequently, but generally working from home now.
Okay.
But, yeah.
So tell everybody about some of the experiences that you and the staff have experienced yourselves while there.
Okay, so it's when I first started there, and I am one of the biggest chickens in the whole wide world. So I was, I'm very nervous, and that's a really big building, and I'm usually in the wintertime, I'm there all by myself. So the year I started there, I'd be sitting in my office and I'd hear people coming up the stairs, I'd hear doors slamming, and the museum was locked down. There couldn't be anybody in there. And I was antsy for a little while, but it continued regularly, and nothing bad ever happened. There was not even a feeling of being, bad or evil in the air. So I just got really, really used to it. And one day we had a board meeting, and the board was there, and we were all sitting at the board table. And you can hear the steps, the marching going on up the steps, and the door banging. And one of the board members looked around and said, "Okay, who's coming?" And I said, "No, that's nobody. That's just a ghost." and sure enough, nobody came. It was there. The same thing happened one day. Carl Moore, he was over doing a story on the museum when the infrastructure was all falling apart. So we're sitting there talking, and I'm on camera, and then all of a sudden you could hear somebody walking up the steps, and the door slammed, and Carl turns around to see who was coming in because they'd have to redo the take. And he said, "Who was that?" And I said, "Nobody, it was just the ghost." So he actually came back and did a Halloween special that year because it was, and it was a great Halloween special that he did.
Oh yeah. We had a lot of fun.
So is that upstairs at the museum? We never did that by the offices before. We always just did the cage and the like the down part of the museum, right? And then the mine.
That was at the upstairs. We've never done that. They never actually come all the way upstairs. You just hear them on the stairs and slamming the door. They never actually come in. But yeah, where you really do see the most active stuff is down in the cage, which is, for anybody who's not been there, this is where we keep all the artifacts that aren't open to the public. So it's because there's some of them are from mining disasters. So you'll see helmets that have obviously been an explosion. You'll see lamps that have been melted through fires. You'll see, so there is trauma attached to these artifacts, and that is actually, you can feel the energy when you go in there, and it doesn't matter when you go in there, you can feel that type of energy. And staff and I, Malcolm McLeod and I, but what the one time, I forget it, I think it was after you guys, we did something with you guys on a hunt, and it was really, really active. So the next night. No, I said to Malcolm that night after everybody had left and we were leaving, I said, you wait for me. I'm not walking out of this place by myself. And so Malcolm waited for me. We got down the back and I had to set the alarms on, and we heard this scraping along the floor, like somebody was dragging a box, and it was coming from the area of the cage. And both of us jumped out of our skin.
It was probably one of those artificial legs.
I don't know what it was, but it was the creepiest feeling. I was already nervous, but that really, the both of us ran out of there. I don't even know if I set the alarms that night. We just got out of there. It was, but it's a very, very active spot. But it is for not the most part, for like there's nothing sort of nasty or evil or anything. It feels almost sort of, I've gotten to find it really, really interesting and sort of look for it now.
Yeah.
That dog is hilarious.
I know.
Doug, did you prepare any questions for the dog?
No, nothing for the dog. No.
Our public investigations there have been so fun, and whether it's me and Doug playing pranks on people that go down into the mine when they go down, or just hearing stories from Eric and from all those guys. They have really cool insight and really cool experiences that they've had, and it's just a blast. I can't wait to get back out there again.
Yeah,
I know, me too. But it's I just wish, like, I'm hoping within the next, I don't know, 6 months that everything calms down and everybody gets their vaccine and everybody, and then COVID just doesn't disappear, but becomes, manageable. Yeah. We can start doing these events. Like, it was so easy to say yes to Lewisburg 2 months ago. We had no cases in Cape Breton and there was only 2 a day. And now I'm like, I don't know what to do anymore.
I know.
You know what I mean?
And now
we're in Ontario right now.
I know.
You can't, like, before I was having a hard time predicting the summer, but now it's impossible. Like, we're supposed to open the end of June. Well, I can't say that right now. I can't even interview my summer students right now.
Wow.
So it's everything's just up in the air.
So many.
That's a good lead-in question. So, tell us what an experience at the museum would be like now during the pandemic. Like, if you were to open under restrictions, what could somebody expect, to have to do? What things are open, what things are not? Like, is the whole museum open, or like company hosts and everything, or is it just certain areas? Like, how do you do it?
Well, what we did last summer, I'll go by last summer. Last summer, when you come in, we'd expect everybody to sanitize their hands. We expect everybody to wear a mask. So they can self-direct as they normally do through the museum, but we've got sort of tape set up so that they walk this way one way and that way another way. If they're going on a mine tour, they have to wear a mask, and there was only 10 allowed as of last year. Right now, that nobody'd be allowed. And we've got the virtual mine tour this year. So we've got the you'll like this, Doug. We've got the simulator, that simulates going underground. So that's going to happen. But
is that running now?
Yeah, it is. We got it all.
Oh, that's good.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's we had the guys come in from not Halifax. They came in from BC. And they self-isolated, and then I worked with them and I self-isolated. So we got it up and running, which is great. And but it's 6:20, but if we're going to put people 6 feet apart, we can only do, it depends. I think we can get 5 in there at sitting 6 feet apart. So that's going to be, tricky. But that being said, a lot of people are going to get their second vaccinations in July and August. And so I'm thinking that the numbers, like if you look to the States and you look to Britain, the numbers are going way, way down with the second shot. So that's what my hope is.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Yeah.
My second shot's not till September.
Well, yours is until September?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, now mine is in August. But I know a lot of people are getting upstairs and, oh, for the love of God.
There's a ghost in your house.
I live on a dead-end street at the bottom of a dead-end street, and she's waiting for a car. There's a seagull. Yeah.
Oh, listen, I got one just like it in the summer. Like Monty's 50 pounds. He's a puggle.
Oh,
So he has a pug face, but a beagle body.
oh, nice.
And you can't leave the windows open. You can't leave the front door open. Every little noise he hears in the summertime, he's going nuts.
Yeah.
And then I go nuts because you're trying to enjoy the breeze coming through your house, and all your dog is doing is losing his mind at the door.
I know.
Yeah, they took my dog for ice cream. They got him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he waits by the window. Anybody that walks by, doesn't matter who it is or what it is, he's barking at it.
That's exactly what this
Yeah.
is, but like no traffic there, because like I said, I'm at a dead end at the end of a dead end, so.
So back to the ride. I know it doesn't go anywhere, but is it like one of those like rocker rides where you sit inside the thing and the whole machine moves around and you're staring at a screen ahead of you?
Well,
And you feel like you're going under the ground?
it does feel like you're going underground. It's got 3 screens, and it's an immersive one. So there's all kinds of special effects. Like we've got wind machines, we've got fog machines.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. I can't wait.
Oh yeah, it is.
Is there explosions?
Oh my God, yes, there is. It's so good. Like the first
Oh,
time
wow.
I went on it, I grabbed my seat in front when the right car started to go. And it's not really moving. It's just with the wind and the woofers, it feels like you're moving. And it's and even when Sheldon Guthrow went on it, and he's been underground like for like 50 years. He worked underground for 30 and he worked at the museum for 20. When it started going underground, he ducked.
Let me ask you a question. Is there barf bags available for when I ride it?
Well, that's what I picture. I picture the Oculus, because we have the Oculus. It's the virtual reality. You put it on your face and there's different things and stuff. And there's roller coaster rides on there. I did one of those. I wasn't right for about 7 hours after.
I did
just the moving in.
Yeah, no, I did one of those and I was fine. And I had an assistant back then with Jenna, and she plays all kinds of video games. So she wanted to do it. So she did it. She was sick as a dog for like half a day. She was just so dizzy.
Yeah.
I watched a video on Superstore when the store manager was using it at the store.
Mhm.
I guess it was a roller coaster one, and he was on it, and he was just standing up, and all of a sudden he started to fall forward, and they all had to grab him because he would have fell flat on his face at the store. I think they should have let him go.
But yeah, that's something that's really cool. That's going to be something to look forward to.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that.
I was thinking we'd get a lot of locals in with that, but like now this summer, who knows? And like really, truthfully, it's like we had a bad year last year. I don't know if we're going to survive another bad year.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you that because I was talking to a few other people in the tourist industry, and like their organizations lost anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 within the first couple of months of being shut down, or not having cruise ships and not having tourists allowed in. Like the Atlantic bubble is great, but it's not that great. Do you know what I mean? Like you're not going to pull the same kind of tourists as you're going to pull from Ontario and Quebec and you know, out west and all that sort of stuff, right? So I figured you must have took a pretty bad beating last year during the season.
Down 95%. So it's like,
whoa.
And normally you only make close to $200,000 just in people coming into the museum, and that doesn't even count for like you're the Men of the Deep or any of those concerts. So it's we usually make that. We didn't even make 20 last year.
Oh man.
Oh no.
So we had a little money in the bank that sort of helped us out. but basically, we can't do that again this year.
No.
We just don't have the capacity.
No.
Yeah.
There's
It's
no
gonna be-
cruise season again this year either.
No, there's no cruise season until February 2022. So,
And I think they said they're not going to open up our borders to any other countries until we're 75% vaccinated.
yes.
I think that's double shot too, I'm pretty sure.
that
Yeah.
is a
So
double
you're
shot.
talking, that's well after the summer.
No.
So it looks
Yeah.
like another summer without anything, right? So
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's brutal.
Yeah, it is. It's brutal. So I don't know what we're gonna do. But that being said, I don't want more COVID coming in.
no,
You want people to stay as safe as ever. It's just
It's tough.
yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting to see who's left standing when this whole thing is come and gone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
well, I mean, if we can do anything for you, we'll do it. It's just we can't right now because no one's
No.
allowed.
No, that's
Can't go
right.
anywhere.
Yeah, that's
Can't go
right.
anywhere.
That was yeah. If we could get like the ghost tours, they did really well with the locals. Locals.
Oh
love
yeah.
That's the thing is most of the locals don't come up to the museum because they've seen it.
Mhm.
So they want to see something different. So
Yeah.
that's what the virtual mind tour, the ghost tours, those were something that locals really, really supported.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we had so much fun. We always got a good crowd.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Everyone was always into it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got some very interesting, but every time we did one, like stuff happened. We
Yeah.
never had a night that was a dud.
No.
No, like even up over in the company house that night, where we were in the bedroom upstairs, and every person in my group heard the same whisper in the air at
That
the
was
exact
so
same time,
awesome.
and it was like it didn't come from any machine. Didn't come. It
No.
was just this weird sigh, whisper, or breath or something, and everybody heard it at the same time, and everybody reacted at the same time. It was probably one of the most craziest things I've experienced so far doing this. Was up in the company house that night.
Yeah, that
That's
was
funny.
the most. That was the most I think anybody has ever felt. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because we were in there right before you guys went in, and we didn't nothing. There was absolutely nothing, and you guys went in, and holy cow! They must have saved it for you.
Well, look at that first night in the cage. Was it Jason? You and Mary Pat were in the cage, and that first EVP came through. Both the miners that were killed in the
Yeah.
in the explosion
Oh
or something.
yeah. We kept getting the 10, right?
Yes, we kept that content.
Yeah. And the 2 meter kept going crazy in the section where all the boxes are at the end of the cage, and we didn't realize that's where it was just old newspapers. And when you and Malcolm dug through it after we had left, that's where you guys find that newspaper with the headline about the deaths.
Yeah.
Where the
10 died.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
so cool. Yeah.
That was a really cool. That was a really cool night. That was our first night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It
that's
was like the
when
very first time we went out there.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. That's the one we talked about on the news too, when you and I did that story with Kyle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super cool. That's awesome.
It is. Yeah. The cage is. I think the cage is the most awesome place.
Yeah.
Because it's a very. It's just interesting with the artifacts themselves, but then with the energy all around them, it's a very interesting place to be.
Oh yeah.
I'm just glad that Kyle seems to be right into it too. He hides it, but
Yeah.
he seems to be like that night Ryan came with us out to Broughton.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like the CTV guys seem to really be into the ghost hunting stuff when
Yeah.
it comes to the mines anyway.
Yeah.
They really are. Like I know Kyle is because he's been out the museum twice to do stories on
Mhm.
on that. So it
Yeah.
is. That's so much part of our history, right? We
Yeah.
are like my grandparents were telling me stories, from their life about meeting ghosts and forerunners and all that sort of stuff. And it is as much as coal mining is drilled into our history. So is that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the old
Oh,
stories,
yeah.
and that's the sad part is all these
Yeah.
people that tell these all old stories are starting to die off. Right? There's
Yeah.
not too many people around, so I try to with Carly. Like I'm kind of this. My mother passed a lot of stuff on to me, and so did my father. So I'm kind of like the storyteller for our family now. So
Yeah.
when Carly was doing her projects in school, she was always doing heritage, and I'd make her study it all and say, oh, you're going to become the new storyteller when I'm gone. To make
Yeah.
sure you can pass on the stories to everybody too, right? So
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that maintaining our history is really, really important because I passed it on to my kids, but my kids are all in Ontario. So
Yeah.
you sort of need to be here to feel that connection, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
no one else has it. I don't care what anybody says. You know, we know ghost hunters or paranormal investigators all the way from British Columbia to Cape Breton. And nobody has it as good as we do in Cape Breton.
No, they
There's
don't.
no stories anywhere else. There's no Miners Museum. There's no mining history. There's no, well, there is, but not the way we told it. There's no Louisburgs, and there's so much history. There's pirates around here. There's so much.
Yes, there
Yeah.
is.
You don't get that anywhere else.
No, it's true. And I mean, look at Jim St. Clair, who we just lost. I mean, he was celebrated. And why? Because he was such a fabulous storyteller. Like,
Mhm.
you know, he was from away, you know, but he was born in the bone, how to get our culture and communicate that to people.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
the type of people we really do celebrate.
Yeah. And it's the tales of forerunners and things like that in Cape Breton. It's you know, Cape Breton and forerunners go hand in hand.
Yes. Yes.
And it's just we're like Doug said, we're incredibly lucky here. Our history isn't an overly long one, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's an incredibly interesting one.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know,
It is,
so
absolutely. And
Well-
we have such pride in it.
yeah, we do. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that Cape Breton Book of the Night, that's filled with all sorts of those kind of stories. And I thought that might have been it. And then for Christmas one year, Joanne got me an Acadian one from Cape Breton, filled with all sorts of other stories that aren't in Cape Breton Book of the Night. And then there's another book out there now you can get. And there's newspaper clippings that they talk about it. And there's Old Cape Breton magazine. And there's so many of those stories that you'd never be able to follow up on all of them in your lifetime.
No.
There's no way.
No. And that's when you start doing the digging, is when you start getting the good stuff. And we're so lucky to have John Manley at the library, because whenever there's something that comes up that we need someone to look into, I just message him and say, hey, can you check this out? And while he's checking it out, he'll find 4 or 5 different stories. It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But so I'm trying to think. Past investigations, we've had some really cool EVPs, really cool experiences. Doug or Mary Pat, either one of you, what stands out besides, you know, the cage?
Mhm.
Mine's the Whisper upstairs in the company house.
Yeah.
That was the best one for me. I mean, the cage has so many. I've seen so much stuff in the cage. Even when we were at that last, was it the full moon colliery event? Remember that was
Yes,
put on?
yeah.
We were there.
Yeah.
We were even getting hits that night in the cage when people were just coming down to listen to our EVPs. They were walking all the way down to the cage and they couldn't believe how cool it was. But other than the cage, mine has to be that Whisper upstairs in the company house. That was crazy.
Yeah.
That's mine anyway.
Yeah. But the cage was so cool because all those plaques on the way down to the cage, you see all the names of the miners who had died in that, and with boots, we're always getting that EVP up there. And there's a lot of bootleggers on that wall. And you know, I don't know who asked it, or I'm sure we've asked it every time, but you know, the voice comes through boots. And who was the woman that came through?
Oh, Lucy. Was it Lucy?
Might have been one of our first investigations. After this, and she was there, and she kept coming through. But wasn't Lucy the name of one of the donkeys they had that worked in the mine or something?
Ponies. I thought it was, but I was wrong. That's what I was thinking it was, but I was wrong. I looked it up. So I was trying to find out who the Lucy was. I never did find out who Lucy was, but that was. He came through really, really strong.
Oh yeah.
That boots one too. I remember the night me and Sean were in the cage with a group, and we got that really big hit on boots. And a girl in the cage who was there with her mother screamed because I think Sean or I asked Boots or who's here with us, and it said Boots, and her nickname was Boots. So she never
came back. She left and never came back.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah. No, that's funny. That's cool. Yeah.
No, she found it really cool.
Yeah.
You ever think, Mary Pat, you'll ever get any of that stuff out on display? Like you'll put like this is the haunted section of the museum.
We're looking at having like special sort of like white glove tours for special people, because like I said, that, you know, because they've obviously been through disasters, there's some people that still touches too hard.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't want to put any anxiety on people, but
No.
people that would know, you know, that they're coming back and that's what they're going to be seeing. It's something else altogether, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what we're looking at doing, sort of like a white glove tour. But yeah, I think that's I think it's definitely, there's definitely interest. I'm getting interest from a lot of people that want to know about the ghosts and the spirits that are at the museum. You know, from all over the place. So
Awesome.
yeah.
It's funny because we've never received, like when we first went out there to do it, you know, of course we loved it. And then when we were talking about doing events, we were actually worried that we'd get like negative feedback from the community saying, well, you know, you're down there in the cage, that's a helmet that was on somebody. So it was obviously melted, or this was whatever, right? And we've never received any negative feedback at all. Everybody seems really positive about it, and they want to know the person's story, and they want to know if they can get in touch with that person. Is he still around?
Yeah.
Even the little artifacts that belong to the houses and stuff. That cage is so heavy when you walk down that walkway. You're just like, oh, you feel this weight on your shoulders.
Yeah.
And I've never had anybody say anything to us negative about going in the cage with all those artifacts that were taken off the poor souls that died in the mines.
Yeah. Well, we approach it with respect too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So I think people get that this is not derogatory. It's not to make fun of. This is very respectful, and it's because we're interested, and we are really interested in their stories. And if they've got something to tell us, we really want to hear it.
Exactly.
That's what we do. We tell their stories.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is. It really is interesting.
And it's a part of our heritage too, right? Like you say, so it's there's nothing else to do but treat it with respect.
Yeah.
Because we're Cape Bretoners, and that's what it's, you know, grandfathers and, you know, worked in the mine. I don't see it myself back then being able to do that.
I couldn't know I could fly. Like, you know, when you think about it, just think about those guys who worked in 26 Colliery, and the night that those 12 men died, they went down and brought their, you know, the ill ones up and brought the bodies up of the other ones. And then when the mine was open, they went back to their next shift. Can you imagine what it would feel like to go back and work down into that same mine? Like
right after it happened.
I can these people have a like bravery that's beyond anything I could possibly imagine.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when I talk to the guys, like, because all of our, you know, mine guys, they all did it. They all went back to 26 Colliery after that disaster, and they said, "Well, Mary Pat, I had to put food on the table." You know, it's just they just think about it. Whereas I don't think I could get out of bed. There would be
no. And that's what I'm extremely claustrophobic. So, and it took a couple trips out there before I would go down with her. And I think Mary Pat, Mary Pat almost had to hold my hand to be able to go down. But I did it.
I'll hold your hand on that ride.
Yeah,
I'll hold mine too.
I'll hold your barf bag, Doug. I'm looking forward to that. And like I say, of course, I hope everybody can kind of, you know, get things under control here and get our cases down so we can jump back out, because I love going out there. I love the experience. I love meeting new people. I love hearing what they have to say about it and their experiences while they're there. All the feedback. I don't think we've had any negative feedback from any of our tours.
No, nothing.
Nope. It's such a good time. No. Yeah. We carry on, we laugh, but we're taking it seriously, as you know, as we should. But we also have a good time. I can't wait to do it again.
The only negative thing that ever happened to me on a tour was not at the Miners Museum, but it was at the Fortress of Louisbourg. I guess you'd call him the executive director too. He was the boss of the whole that whole fortress, I guess, for Parks Canada.
Yeah.
And they had a staff event out there, and he brought him, his wife, and his young daughter. I think it was his daughter. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
can't remember.
within 10 minutes of doing an EVP session in the Douget house, she started bawling. And I felt so bad.
Yeah.
So they had to take her away. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And they're like, no, that's okay. But that was about it wasn't super negative, but that's about as far as I could stretch anything that ever happened negative to us.
Yeah.
I just felt so bad myself. Like, they weren't mad. I was just
No.
like, I was devastated that I made a little kid cry.
I
On
think
a
the
tour.
parents were disappointed they had to leave.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I bet. That poor little thing, she probably just didn't realize that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's for sure.
But every young person that comes to the Miners Museum, they all love it.
They loved it. If they young ones,
Pass out the gear and they absolutely go crazy for it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another fun thing too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that is really, and that is a whole lot of fun seeing that. See, it's nice to pass that sort of stuff down to this generation, because it was so, like, it was ingrained in my generation growing up, because this talk went around on the supper table, so
Mhm.
it was somebody down the street had a forerunner, and then, so-and-so dropped dead the next day. So it was this was just topics of conversation around the supper table.
Yeah.
Don't really have that so much anymore.
No.
Because you're right. The people that had those stories are dying off, and we're not keeping those traditions. Well, we're not even keeping the traditions at the supper table anymore.
No, I know.
I know in our house we don't.
Nope.
We don't have the TV on though. We don't watch TV. We have cable, but Joanne watches a couple of shows. But I usually just watch YouTube or stuff like that. I'm not really into television anymore. I don't find there's any good shows. But we don't sit at the table. Everybody just kind of sits with your head down, sitting on the couch. You shovel your food in, and then you're like, "Well, I'm going down the basement. Now I'm going to bed. Now I'm going over here."
Yeah. It's you got to wrestle the tablets away from them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Screen time.
Yeah, oh, I know. But that's what, with my kids, I take them for walks up to the graveyard, or I try to get them out as much as I can, and they know how much that I like this stuff. And, when I see them asking questions, and as they get older, they seem to get more interested, which I love. But it's important for us, even the stories that I have from when I was a kid. It's nice to be able to pass them on to somebody, so someone else in another, their kids can hear the stories too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my kids are they're interested in this sort of stuff too. So it does, like, they're all grown up now, so it does keep that sort of interest alive. Like, it's not fed on the cults because they don't live down here anymore, but they've still got that inquisitive mind, and which is, that's what you want to instill in your kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we got about 5 minutes left.
All right.
Yeah, so we can talk about, I don't know. I just really want to go back out there.
Yeah, we want you. We did a strategic plan, and when the people came in, we got some consultants to do it. They talked to all sorts of people in the community, people who visited, volunteers, and the thing that kept coming up is one of their favorite things to do. There was two favorite things to do to deal with the Miners Museum. One was going on an underground tour, and one was going on a ghost walk. Those were the top two things to do at the Miners Museum. So yeah, we desperately would like to have you back out here again.
We're definitely coming back.
Oh,
like I said, it's like I said to when we talked about Louisbourg. I mean, I posted about it and everything, thinking, "Oh, we got this licked. There's no cases. We're doing so good."
Yeah.
And then now me and Jason were talking today, and we don't even know what to do anymore, because I mean, it's not even up to us. If Dr. Strang or Public Health says, "Okay, this summer you can have events with 10 people outside," well, it's kind of hard to have an event. Such a big place at the Fortress, or even at the Miners Museum, if it's only 10 people. Yeah. I don't even know how we'd pull it off, right?
I don't know.
Especially if you're not allowed to have people inside. If it was just outside, we'd never be able to do it. So I'm just hoping that, we get our case under control, and they allow us to have events where you can have, you know, half your capacity inside or something. But I can't see
Exactly.
them going full bore until everybody's vaccinated.
No.
Neither
To be
can I.
honest with you.
I was on a Zoom call with Dr. Strang yesterday, and he was saying, you know, the rest of the province is getting things under control, but Sydney's not.
No.
And,
We're
so,
going the wrong way.
yeah, we are definitely going the wrong way, and we don't have the capacity. The regional does not have the capacity to deal with really, really, really sick people. You know, we don't have that many ventilators here. So we're in a bit of a pickle. So he was thinking that the rest of the province may open up faster than we do.
Yeah.
If we don't get this thing under control, and it doesn't look like it's getting under control.
It's hard to believe we were doing so good,
I
Yeah.
know.
especially in Cape Breton. We were doing
Yeah.
like we were the safest place in the world to live at one point.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we
It's
do.
frustrating.
It's so frustrating to think,
Mm-hmm.
you know, couple events here and there just messed it up for
Blew it
for
right
us, right? But
And now if we can get it under control, if everybody just pays attention.
Yeah.
And it's the variant though, so that's
yeah,
why it's just spreading a lot faster. So we're gonna have to stay inside a little bit longer. But
Yeah.
you know, like, why not? Why
Yeah.
not do it?
We
I
might as
love
well.
inside my house. I love it in here. I'm such a homebody. Everybody's like, I can't take this, and I'm like, what can't you take? This is fantastic.
Yeah.
I can go to
I'm a
Boston.
homebody, but I need to get out sometimes. And I'm a sales rep, and I'm on the road Monday to Friday. So being stuck at home, I just want to get in my car and go for a drive past
Yeah.
the bridge or past, you know, the cutoff points right now.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And it sucks, but we have to do it.
Yep, it does. There's no other way to get around this.
Mhm. Yeah. Everyone has family they want to see.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everyone has, you know, friends they want to get back to. My 40th birthday party last year was in here. By the end of it, I was sitting by myself drinking alone on my back step. That was my 40th birthday party.
Yep.
So I mean, it's, you know, but I think we will, and I would love to say by October, even if we could do an event for you guys in October.
That would be great.
Even
That would
two, even two.
There's
Oh, listen, I'll do 100. I'll do 100. Like, I mean, I tell you I'm a homebody, but I'm not a homebody when it comes to paranormal investigating. I'm a homebody when you want to go to Walmart. No, I don't. Do you want to go to Home Depot? No, I'm good. But to get outside, like I haven't taken, like I'm a photographer. I haven't taken my camera out of the bag in almost a year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll shoot little birds in the backyard and stuff, but I'm not out doing landscapes or all this sort of stuff. I'm just you're stuck in your yard. So now I got 100 bird feeders in my yard, hoping to attract different birds to the backyard.
We're about to run out of time here.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Talking to you guys again.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Oh,
Thanks
thank
so
you
much for
having
coming.
me.
And
No problem.
hopefully we'll talk to you sooner rather than later.
Perfect. Stay
Right.
safe.
You too.
too.
Take care. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.